Hey guys, so today we have another concept car video. This is going to be an interesting one about the first Dodge electric vehicle, also known as the Dodge Circuit EV. There were actually two different versions, so the 2008 EV and the 2009 Circuit EV, so we'll be covering both of them today. Chrysler was investing into producing electric vehicles during this time, and the Dodge EV was just one example. This was a two-passenger rear-wheel drive, all-electric sports car that combined high performance with zero tailpipe emissions. The story of this car takes us through a bit of a journey through Chrysler, with the creation of their ENVI division and cars like this, to the abandonment of all their EVs, begging the question of what if. You can find the video outline on screen, where today we're going in depth on the background info, exterior and interior, performance, and stories of this beautiful concept car. So let's get started. Right around the time Tesla began producing the Roadster model, Chrysler began getting into electric vehicles by creating the ENVI Organization in September 2007. This was an in-house division dedicated to creating production electric drive vehicles and advanced propulsion technologies, as that's what Chrysler forecasted the future would hold. The word ENVI was derived from environment and new vehicles. As Tom Lasorda, the vice chairman and president of Chrysler LLC, said at the time, quote, ENVI was created just over 1 year ago with the strategic intent to develop electric drive vehicles quickly for Chrysler, and it is surpassing expectations. With ENVI, Chrysler is developing technology to bring electric vehicles and extremely fuel-efficient range-extended electric vehicles to market. End quote. So, 1 year after ENVI was created, Chrysler had invested $448 million into it at the time, and they began creating the EVs in September of 2008. They had three vehicles intended for production: the Jeep EV based on the Wrangler JK Unlimited, the Chrysler EV based on the Town Country Minivan, and this Dodge EV sports car. If the design looks familiar, that's because Dodge chose to base the EV on the Lotus Europa S from Europe, which was a bigger version of the Lotus Elise. Tesla did the exact same thing with their Roadster, and Vauxhall and Opel also used the platform for various sports cars. The Dodge EV tried to separate itself from the Europa with a muscular Dodge look, but it honestly doesn't look a whole lot different. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there were two versions. The first was unveiled at the Geneva International Auto Show, and that was simply a carbon copy of the Lotus Europa S, finished in yellow paint with dual black racing stripes. The look didn't matter as much, as Chrysler was just trying to showcase their technology. Chrysler then shocked everybody by rolling out 5 different EV prototypes at the 2009 North American International Auto Show in Detroit, with an EV version of the 200C, Town & Country, Jeep Patriot and Wrangler, and this Dodge sports car, this time finished in the tangerine color. Finally, it got an official name, the Dodge Circuit, and got Dodge-specific looks. So they added their signature crosshair grille, put on some unique side skirts, and changed the rear fascia, but you can still see that Lotus DNA in my opinion. The sides of the body have a deep scallop, and there's also a functional rear brake air duct. Ralph Gilles, the head of design, spoke about the EV at the time, saying that it, quote, mates bold Dodge styling to the no-compromise performance attributes of an all-electric performance sports car, end quote. Inside, the Circuit EV features everything that you'd expect from a performance sports car, with features like power windows and locks, air conditioning, cruise control, and a premium sound system. That also got paired with the Chrysler MyGig infotainment system. Disappointingly, there isn't a gear shifter, but rather a push-button drive selector. The seats are Dodge branded, covered in premium leather with deep bolsters. The premium leather continues on the center console, cluster, and instrument panel as well. A digital display showed all the necessary information about the electric drive system to the driver. So now let's move on to the performance and technology. The electric drive system on the Circuit EV consisted of 3 components: a 200 kilowatt electric motor, an advanced mid-mounted lithium-ion battery, and an integrated power controller. Overall power output in more familiar terms were 268 horsepower and a whopping 480 pound-feet of torque. So that meant some very solid performance, with a 0 to 60 time of 4.7 seconds and a quarter mile of 13 seconds, so it would have been right on pace with the Dodge Challenger and Charger SRTH from this era, with less power but also less weight, just weighing in at 2,650 pounds. Dodge also did a race with the 2008 Dodge Challenger SRT8, and the Dodge EV seems to have blown the doors off of that car. It's also faster than the stock Europa S. Unnamed sources say the goal was to beat the Tesla Roadster, which had a 0 to 60 capability of around 4 seconds flat, and the top speed was only 120 miles per hour. So that Europa was a perfect platform, as building off of that was quicker and cheaper to engineer and get up and running than just designing a totally new platform. Being mid-engined helped because of where the batteries had to go, and the very lightweight Europa was an advantage because of the additional weight of the electric engine and batteries. As for the battery performance, ENVI claimed that the driving range would have been between 150 to 200 miles depending on how hard the car is driven. It's certainly nothing crazy, but the vice president of Chrysler Product Development, Frank Clegan, spoke about how that 150 to 200 mile range far exceeded the daily commute of most Americans, as almost 80% of Americans drove less than 40 miles per day at the time. To put that into perspective, the upcoming Stella small platform, set to release around 2026, only has a 300-mile range with an 87-kilowatt battery pack. The Dodge Circuit battery could be recharged in 8 hours using a standard 120-volt outlet, or in half that time, so 4 hours, with a 240-volt outlet that's commonly used for appliances. Now, Stellantis vehicles have been promised to have a much faster charging capability of 20 miles per minute. So the Circuit EV had true ambitions to be brought to production. From the Town Country, Wrangler EV, and the Circuit EV, Chrysler had a 5-year plan to bring all of them to the North American and European markets. The plan was to bring the Circuit EV to the US as a 2010 model, the first production vehicle produced by the ENVI team. They also wanted to immediately add 100 Chrysler EVs to government, business, utility, and fleets in late 2009. Several prototypes of the Circuit were even built and tested in Michigan, Arizona, and even the United Kingdom. A business plan that was similar to the Tesla Roadster was planned with the car to be assembled by Lotus and then shipped to the US for ENVI to install the electrified powertrain. Several press members and even employees outside the program at Chrysler had documented rides in various prototypes through the late 2000s.
It was wonderful to have won that opportunity to be the first employee other than the executives to get to ride in the ENVI vehicle. And this one that I rode today is the new one. And from what I understand, we just got it last week. So this is very new. So it's terrific. It was so cool. It is perfectly quiet. The only noise that you heard was the salt on the road and just the tires on the road. That's the only noise. And when the car was in a stop, it was like dead silence. It was amazing. And to be able to go that fast and to know it wasn't a fossil fuel engine, it was all electric. It was wonderful.
Chrysler's ENVI division had said that they were well into the development of advanced production intent electric vehicles, as they had invested $448 million into it at the time. So at the time of the Circuit release in 2009, Dodge and Chrysler spoke about the benefits of a vehicle like this. Frank Clegan said, quote, "Electric vehicles provide the opportunity to fulfill social responsibility, reduce dependency on foreign oil, and eliminate monthly gas bills while delivering performance and utility that our customers desire." End quote. Of course, Chrysler also forecasted that the future would be filled with EV products, so they tried to jump on the bandwagon early with some of their own. Clegan said that he believed that every vehicle on the road would be electrified to some degree, and that half of all vehicles sold in the US would be extended range or full-on EVs within a generation. Not sure what time frame he meant by a generation, but obviously he was right. If we add together all the electric and plug-in hybrid electric vehicle sales, 2011 saw just 17,763 sold in just the United States, but a decade later in 2021 saw over 608,000 sold in that year. Now the big question, why did the Circuit EV get cancelled if there was so much potential? Unfortunately, Chrysler was heavily impacted by the automotive industry crisis of 2008 to 2010, and they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy reorganization on April 30th, 2009. They got bailed out by the US government through the Troubled Asset Relief Program, and Chrysler emerged from the proceedings with several joint owners, including the United Auto Workers Pension Fund, Fiat SPA, and the US and Canadian government. So Fiat immediately disbanded the ENVI division in November 2009, removing all the EV models from the future product plans of the company. They did this because they wanted to get Chrysler back on their feet, so they wanted them to focus on profitability and volume, and the number of sales of EVs was so low at the time that Fiat just didn't think it was worthwhile for Chrysler to keep investing in that direction. So the only thing to come out of the ENVI division would be a plug-in hybrid electric version of the 2010 Dodge Ram 1500 and a Town & Country EV for the United States Postal Service. No other EV would get sold to retail customers until the 2017 Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid, many years later. So this car begs the question, what if? If Chrysler hadn't been forced to disband their ENVI division and the Circuit EV was actually released, say around 2010 or 2011, then that could have resulted in a few different paths for Dodge than what we know. On one side, they would have had released a far cheaper option to the $109,000 US 2009 Tesla Roadster. And who knows, that could have possibly vaulted Chrysler to becoming an EV leader and investing more in electric drive systems had the Circuit become a huge success. It also would have been a huge competitor to the Roadster, as Dodge pricing would have started around $50,000 or $60,000 US. They could have become a company like Tesla is today, with extremely fast and powerful EV sedans and SUVs. On the other hand, had that happened and it became a huge success, it's unlikely that we would ever have seen the gas-guzzling huge horsepower creations from Dodge, like the Hellcat and Demon, as they probably would have been focusing on electric stuff instead. I predict that if the Circuit EV was really a success and they continued down this direction, we still would have seen the 2011 to 2014 SRT8s from Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep, with the 6.4-liter 392 Hemi V8, but after that, Dodge and Chrysler probably would have continued down the EV direction and made super powerful cars in that division instead. So that's the end of this video, guys. What did you think of the Dodge Circuit EV? Did Dodge drop the ball on this one? Do you think things would have been different if the ENVI division had lived on? Or do you prefer what happened today with the Hellcat, Demon, and those kind of vehicles? Would Dodge and Chrysler have overtaken Tesla with this car? Let me know down in the comment section below. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and make sure to like and subscribe for more Mopar content, and let me know if you want to see other concept car videos like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.